Hey, welcome to my video blog, Wanderlust, the search for Forrest Fenn's Gold. I wanted to do a video. I just saw this thing from another video blogger. He's well known in Forrest Fenn search community. His name is Rick, and he's the Illinois Ghost. So I wanted to run this. I'm going to run this video clip, or this audio clip here from Forrest Fenn from this April 3rd, 2013 interview. So hold on. Okay, let's listen to this. I got it racked up. Okay, here.
Very lightly.
Okay. So it's obviously not easy to find, but it is findable in 2013. That's why they're all out looking. Would that be fair? You can find it.
Yeah, yes. In my book, the Thrill of the Chase, I wrote a poem, and the poem has 9 clues in it. If you can follow the clues to the poem, they will take you to the treasure chest. And in my book, there are several hints that won't take you to the treasure chest, but they will help you with the clues that are in the poem. It's not going to be easy to find, and nobody is going to accidentally trip over this thing. They're going to have to figure out.
So one of the things I think is really interesting about that is he says that you have to read the clues from his poem. There's another little part I want to play. I'm not going to go through this whole thing again. It's just this part. Let me find this other part.
Be easy to find, and nobody is going to accidentally trip over this thing. They're going to have to figure out the clues, decipher what they say, and go right straight to the treasure chest.
And so what he says there is he says you're going to have to decipher the clues in the poem and figure out what they mean. And I think that is just really, really important to remember. Is in this early 2013 interview, he's saying that you're going to have to decipher the clues and figure out what they mean. Decipher the clues and figure out what they mean. It's worth repeating. I think there was one little other part of this, and then I'll go to this other video. I'm going to pause and rack this up. Hold on. So here's the local knowledge geology question part.
Across from Texas to have a look. You don't necessarily need local knowledge, local geography knowledge.
No, no.
Okay.
The first clue in the poem is begin it where warm waters halt. That's the first clue. If you can't figure that clue out, you don't have anything.
All right. Begin it
I
where.
think you're going to go out looking for that treasure chest.
So I guess that was the point I wanted to run it at, is that that's, where Forrest Fenn is saying, begin it where warm waters halt. If you do not have that clue, you don't have anything. I also like the part where he says that you have to decrypt the clues, and I'm going to play that one more time. And just one more time, I'm going to play this part right here.
Yes, in my book, the Thrill of the Chase, I wrote a poem, and the poem has 9 clues in it. If you can follow the clues to the poem, they will take you to the treasure chest. And in my book, there are.
So he says, if you can figure out the clues and follow them, which falls into my narrative, is that I think that these clues, and he has said that they're sequential and you have to follow them. You have to follow the clues. You have to decrypt the clues and determine what they mean. I think that's really significant. So now going to this other part, and I think with that, just in summary, I think what that means is that, yes, and as people have already seen, I mean, if you read the poem, it's cryptic. The sentences, the information in the poem is cryptic, and so you have to somehow decrypt, which to me implies that if something has been encrypted, it means that there's a way to decrypt it. So that is, I think, the real trick to this entire thing, and that is that there is a key. There is some cryptological thing that he has done. I don't think he has used, you know, integral calculus, to write algorithms that encrypt this thing, but he has used some form of encryption. And I think, and I've thought this for a long time. Now, it's interesting in this interview that he says, the guy says something about, you need to know, have background in geography, geographical, or to say geology. Let me see.
They're going to have to figure out the clues, decipher what they say, and go right straight to the treasure chest.
I'm assuming, I'm not trying to prize information out of you, but I'm assuming that if a guy, an unemployed guy in a pickup truck is driving across from Texas to have a look, you don't necessarily need local knowledge, local geography knowledge.
No, no.
Okay.
The first clue in the poem is, begin it where warm waters halt. That's the first clue. If you can't figure that clue out, you don't have anything.
All right, begin it where...
I think you're going to go out looking for that treasure chest. I think you have that in your...
So I want to do this one last little part of this 2013 interview again. I'm going to play it right now.
I want to correct what you said earlier. I've never said that I buried the treasure chest. What I've said is that I hid it. That's not to say that it isn't buried, but I don't want to give that clue.
Okay.
That part still makes me, every time I listen to it, that he says, and he does it again in subsequent interviews, is he says that he hid it, and then he comes back behind and says it's not to say that it isn't buried. So I keep going, and then he says, but I don't want to give away another clue. That to me, I just put like question mark, question mark, question mark behind it. The whole thing that sparked this whole thing was about this little rant that I wanted to do, had to do with a video that I was listening to, and try and dial up a couple of pieces from this too. So I also wanted to do this thing where I was watching this video from Illinois Ghost. I believe his name is Rick, and he's really well known in Forrest Fenn search community. And I like this thing that he did about don't get stuck on clue number 2. So let's listen here real quick. Yeah, let's try this.
At it. So is the little girl in India really any different than us? Does the geographical location really matter? To me, I don't think so. I think it all depends on what you interpret the 9 clues as. And I believe everybody is actually missing something at the second clue. That's why you can't get past it. I believe he's telling you that you actually physically have to have boots on the ground at that location in order to go any further. So every time I hear about the little girl from India, it makes me think of another comment from Forrest where he says searchers have had the first 2 clues correct, but then they go right past the other 7. It seems like the 2 comments coincide with each other. He's trying.
So I want to answer Rick's question, at least what I think is the answer to it, and the reason why I went back and found the audio from the 2013 interview. And I sort of, in a way, I agree with Rick about, I think earlier in that he said something about that he doesn't think where warm waters halt is the first clue. And even though Forrest Fenn has categorically said that it is, I sort of agree with Rick. Is I'm starting to wonder more and more, is it's the first clue, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the clue that you need. I think that the there's entirely possible, and I think I just said that before, is that the thrill of the chase is encrypted somehow, or there's some kind of cryptographic trick to this thing. But I don't think it's terribly difficult. I think it literally, somehow, the phraseology, like begin it where warm waters halt, it has somehow that if you know where to look for that phrase, then when you find the reference to that phrase, it means something else. And I think that's literally what this whole poem is full of, is that these are like phrases from somewhere else, and you need to be able to figure out where that phrase is. And I think that is one of the tricks to it. But to answer the to Rick's questions, I'm going to bring up this other part. So there's a couple of points that Rick makes, and I think one of the ways to think about this is that wherever it is that you need to go, there's an entrance, right? And you enter, and I'm saying by car, right? And you drive into this place, okay? And I mean, I'm simplifying it, but I think that this place has some kind of attractions. And I think what it is that the people who are going to this thing are driving in here, right? They're coming in here, and then there's a turnout here, right? And they're stopping at point A. Okay? Now their solve is that it's here at point B. Okay, there's something here at point B. So they're stopping at point A and there's a turnout and there's some kind of scenery here. And they're getting out of the car, right? They're taking a picture of themselves here, right? And they're looking this way. And there's something there, right, of significance. Then they're getting in their car and they're heading to point B. But it turns out that it was point A that really what it is that the first two clues are getting that got them here, got them to, or maybe I should say, got them to this entire region, right? The first two clues got them to this region, okay, and then they come to this region, and they're assuming that this is it over here at point B, and then they're stopping at point A, taking a picture, and then sending Forrest Fenn a picture and saying, haha, we were here at this place, and we searched and we couldn't find it. I also think another part of it may have something to do with that, that everybody's looking this way, right? But there's like this some canyon that goes down here, and it's not, and there's probably some brush and some trees and stuff and everything, and there's no human trail, and you really have to kind of bushwhack down into that area, and it's not terribly difficult to do. And there may even be like a deer trail. I've seen those where you can kind of follow them down into this little gentle canyon, and when you drive away from this here, that this canyon is such that it does go down, but it doesn't go down where it's too dangerous. And once you go down this canyon, it's sort of secluded, and hidden. How do you say that? Hidden by the geography. And if you go down in this canyon, you're going to see it. It's going to be down here. Whatever the other aspects are, they're going to see them down here. I also have another. I'll do another quick drawing. I also have another theory about this too, is that and which is almost the same idea, is that there's point B, which people are assuming is the solve, right? And then they're coming up this road and there's a turnout and there's some attraction, right? Like a waterfall. And they're parking their car and they're coming over here and they're looking at this attraction, okay? And then the river from the waterfall goes under here and over here. And on the other side of the road, there's a bunch of trees. And so people get in their car and they head off to B. And this is A. And what they don't realize is that they were at the right place. They got the first two clues correct. They came to the right area, the right place. But what they didn't do is they didn't realize that if you cross the street and you go through the woods and go down this little canyon, that's where it's going to be, right? It's going to be down. And once you cross through these trees, you're going to start seeing the aspects. Look, there's below something of brown, etc. down here. But then when they leave, right, they went right past it. They missed it. So I think I think I agree with Illinois Grost, is that there's something about the little girl from India. Now, it could be nothing more than she just has to cross the ocean, but he's right. Is it nothing more than people sitting in wheelchairs going to have fun? And the reason why is because they really have to be on site to kind of figure this thing out. And I think he could be right. And I think the first two clues get you to that geographic location. And it could be something like, the first two clues are Cody, Wyoming, or something like that. And that'll get you to the general area. Anyways, like my videos, subscribe. Thanks for watching.